As a reminder, any video that you see on Code Equestria is not being used for monetary gain, and any videos whose subject matter is about anything advertised is not being advertised for the gain of the individual companies therein. Audio video clips from the game are being directly recorded from proper video game capture sources and not stolen from the games themselves, and follow all proper codage of the fair use law. Got it? Translated. We're not getting paid for this by anybody. Enjoy the show.
Hello everybody, I am DragonHeart of Code Equestria, and I am here. I love the FarCry series with its mix of guerrilla warfare, its tropical setting, and stuff like that, but I am here to talk about a game in particular known as FarCry 3. FarCry 3 is an open-world shooter that is set in the Rook Islands, where you take control of a kid known as Jason Brody, who is on vacation with his brothers and friends. And they're rich, by the way, so they're basically... They basically, along the way, are captured by an evil pirate who is taking control of the island, known as Voss, who wants to ransom them off for slave labor and get a lot of money. He wants to ransom them to their parents, but is going to put them into slave labor anyway. Jason and his brother Grant manage to escape, but Grant is killed in the process. And Jason later meets up with a man known as Dennis Roger, who puts a mystical tattoo known as the Tatau on his arm, and tells him to follow the path of the warrior in order to save his friends. Now, the story is really good. Jason is a really interesting character, watching him go from the spoiled rich kid who doesn't know how to do anything to a survivor, essentially. And he's really interesting. He's really interesting to see that story, even though he is one-dimensional and is going down a spotted path. But there's also, and then there's Voss, which is the villain. He's really interesting. Like, he is psychotic, he's manipulative, he's cunning, he's surprisingly smart for somebody who's so insane. And plus, he has the brawn to go with it, because he has a whole army of pirates that want to hunt you down. Now, Now, even though those guys are interesting, the other characters unfortunately kind of fall flat. Like, they're really not that interesting. The only reason they're there is to just give Jason a reason for just doing what he does. And that's it. Like, they're not really there for any kind of specialty or anything like that. Not even his love interests, which is unfortunate. Like, but yeah, it's a good story. It's really inspiring, and it gives context to what you're doing. But as for the gameplay, the gameplay is really good. It's a step up from Far Cry 2. Where the gameplay is kind of clunky and it was kind of stiff. Your guy was had these robotic animations. But now that they've got an actual budget, they improved a lot on the gunplay, making it feel more streamlined, more easy to, more not as stiff, and the animations look better, and Jason has a lot more moves than any of the characters in Far Cry 2. Like being able to backstab two people and stuff like that, and being able to backstab from ledges or from underwater, which some of it was taken from Far Cry 2, but not all of it. Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of things trying to kill you in this game. Like, not only do you have to worry about the bloodthirsty pirates, not only do you have to worry about Voss's employer's army, in addition to his own, known as the privateers, but also you have to worry about the animals trying to kill you. And there's several animals that you can hunt, such as crocodiles, panthers, tigers, sharks, yes, sharks, and more. And those are just some that I named. There's literally so many animals that you can hunt in the game, which already makes it different than Far Cry 3, because Far Cry 3 didn't have an animal hunting system, and plus you can also skin those animals and basically go. There's a crafting system where you can skin animals and upgrade your bags to hold more ammunition, hold more explosives, hold more syringes, and stuff like that. And as for the syringe system, it's also been upgraded by you can't just use the syringes to heal yourself. You can also use them, craft different syringes to give you temporary abilities, like being able to see things through walls, being able to do more damage, and being able to hold your breath longer when you're sniping and while you're underwater. And basically, there's lots of weapons that you can use, like assault rifles, SMGs, pistols, shotguns, LMGs, rocket launchers, and two of my personal favorites. First being the bow, which can be used with several different kinds of arrows. The regular ones that set the ground on fire and enemies, and my personal favorite, the explosive bows, the explosive arrows, which basically make you feel like Rambo. And my other personal favorite, which is the almighty flamethrower, which I love to death. And in addition to upgrading those abilities, you can also upgrade your tatau, which is the thing on your arm, which gives you this tattoo on your arm, which gives you additional abilities and changes depending on what you choose, like being able to backstab people from ledges, being able to backstab two people from ledges, being able to backstab two people in general, or being able to backstab heavy troopers, which normally can't be backstabbed, and stuff like that. And there's also outposts in the game that you need to capture in order to reclaim the island, known as there's lots of side missions, like being able to recapture outposts so that you can reclaim the island, being able to race, being on ATVs, and being able to do assassin missions, some of which result in instant mission failure, or being able to go around and collect World War II letters, which give additional story and lore about the island. Like, the game is a big step up from Far Cry 2, both in story and gameplay. And in addition to all this, there is in addition to all this, unfortunately, with some of the skills that you get from the tatau, some of them don't feel like they were really useful. It just was, like, for instance, the double backstab. I never really found a place to use that, or being able to zip line and shoot. Like, when am I ever going to need that? Like, it's a shame in that some of them are not really that useful. But in addition to all this content in the single player alone, there's also a 2 to 4 or co-op mode, which follows the story of 4 survivors that have been shipwrecked on on the Rook Island and are trying to escape. But unfortunately, this one doesn't feel as good as the single player. It feels like they just threw it in there because they needed to get they need to get a wider audience, but it's really nothing special. Like it's just that. It's just there. They're completely throwaway. And there's also, in addition to that, there's also a competitive multiplayer, which has a number of modes, with some of which being Team Deathmatch, King of the Hill, Capture the Flag, and more. But again, it doesn't feel like it needs to be there because the game is already good enough without a multiplayer. Like, in fact, they could have. And basically, all in all, this game is a terrific value for your money. It is well worth its $60 price point, and more. Or there's a lot to see and do. There's an interesting story, and there is really with likable characters, and there is really good gameplay. Which is why I give Far Cry 3 for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC a 9 out of 10. And pick this up first if you are thinking about getting into this series. This is what Far Cry is. But until next time, we will take an exciting journey to the testosterone-filled land of the 1980s, where men were men, one-liners were awesome, and pulling the trigger made things go boom, baby. But until then, have a heart to think positively, and thanks for watching.